Hey everyone, Hans here. Well, if you're doing well. Today I wanted to make a video about the younger generation that's now coming up. They're coming out of adolescence, the Gen Zers, as they're more commonly known as. I mean, it's 2022. Did you guys notice that for the last 4 years we have this generation coming into official citizenship and, well, technically they're supposed to be adults now, self-functional, functional adults. Have we seen a lot of that? According to a lot of people I've met in the 2010s, it was all gonna work itself out, you know. This crazy old generation was gonna go, and the new generation was going to see all that's wrong, and they're gonna make everything right. Doesn't really look like it. Seems like this younger generation, well, the older generation is going, as nature ordains, but the younger one just keeps pouring in with mental disorder and confusion and a lack of connection with basically everything. No connection with ancestors, no connection with their no spirituality involved, not even connection really with their peers, because everything is vapid, pointless, plastic, artificial just in general. And garnering attention seems to be the closest they can get to achieving something, which no, that is not the case. I remember this term, no-lifer, which is a term that they used for people who played a lot of video games. And it comes down to that you were playing it too much a day and what have you. Because like hundreds, thousands of hours were spent on video games. But if you look today at the situation, has that improved? Well, this is not a kick towards gamers or whatever. It's more so a point of making that at least those people had fun with what they did. And it was only a part of their day, I guess. Maybe a few did really spend day in, day out, and that's their business. But today it's like you have people who every waking moment of their lives is in service to something that they dislike, in service to trying to get rid of the misery by committing to acts that cause that misery. Actually, you could say no life to about anyone who isn't living an authentic life. And once you live an authentic life, well, then it's only up to you to decide what is living and what isn't, right? So when I then see these young folk, let me start with the young women. They dress themselves up, put fake up on their visages. They have these massive claws for nails, and their every breath is in service to getting in front of a camera and tossing kisses at the camera, doing 20 different poses, sending it out there, and the intention is then either to, well, basically it is to garner attention. In my eyes, I think that is basically a call out for affection. But you cannot have affection with pixels, can you now? And you cannot have affection with someone who is... Well, you can exchange niceties, I suppose, but real affection, that's physical, that's close up. A hug, a cuddle. Doesn't need to be sexual either, like it always tends to be these days. You have those who do go that far, of course. But there is, and then these young girls tend to be very unhappy. Wondering why, because they're doing all the right things. No, you're not. What you're looking for, I guess I'll provide an answer for some of them as far as I can tell. What you're looking for is connection with, is looking for a social circle, but a healthy one, not these holy weird circles where you have like this crazy character that, do such people really exist? I think a lot of them mimic it, but Does really anyone want to be like the most popular person in the room and like stamp down on everyone else to feel better about themselves? I mean, that's psychotic, and such types do exist. So I guess it does exist, but and then you have like your little clique. No, it's not how it works in a healthy environment. You have your social circle, but you have many. You have different layers of social circles. First social circle is, for example, your family. Outside of it, friends, well, family and friends. And outside of that, family, friends, and colleagues. Family, friends, colleagues, acquaintances. And that's usually where it ends for most people. You have like an extra one, I suppose, where you're just reaching, like kind of what I'm doing in the sense of I'm reaching out to the world, but I'm not gonna meet most of you. It's never gonna happen, I guess. I guess it could be fun, but we do not know that is ever gonna happen. So there's something beyond acquaintance then, uh, but that is exactly the point, right? Um, the videos that I'm pushing out, it's not for popularity's sake. I mean, I can mention a million things to make me far more popular, but I care too much about doing right. So there you go. And I'm not really, yeah, what have you. What these young people then do is they reach out for that which is beyond acquaintance and expect, that circle which is the furthest away to be the one that touches them the most. And granted, in today's dysfunctional world, society I should say, in the dysfunction of today's society, a lot of people do not even have that first circle because their family is all messed up, neurotic, psychotic, what have you. Or too egocentric, because egocentrism is also a big issue. Friends also might not be there. Colleagues, sure. You got to do your 9 to 5. No, more like your, I don't know, your 7 to 9, and now with that 9 in the afternoon or something like that. Right? You might have colleagues, sure. Might have a dog or a cat. Which is, by the way, fine to have pets, but if that's all you have, there are problems. And probably these poor animals getting far more attention than they should have. So yeah, to those young women, I can say women need social connection. That's very important for young women because it helps them understand their standing in their tribe. Your grandmothers knew what was up with that. They really did. Your grandmothers knew which role they, naturally which role they wanted to embrace, which they naturally had the capacities to do. And they partook with the men. They worked along with the men. But when the men, for example, were out hunting or whatever, and it was only the women, then the women sort of naturally understood, okay, who's the best knitter, who is the best talker, who is the matriarch of the crew, if you will, or the head woman, the alpha woman. And it's okay to be a beta woman, provided you're working in tandem with the alpha. No, you have natural followers, that's fine. You can be that too. You don't need to be the headsman. Wait, that's not the correct term, is it? Like the head, but you get the idea. The chieftain, what have you. You don't need to be the goddess Frick if you can be the goddess Eden. Something like that. So yeah, that is what's lacking, and if you cannot find that in your immediate family, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry that happened to you. But you can still have a family of your own. Just have the decency to raise your children with the understanding that what you have been bereft of is not what your children can give you, but you can still gain that sort of social circle from the people that you're bringing into the world, and that is a possibility. And you have your first circle back. Just don't be possessive about it. Let your children go where they will. And through them, your children, who knows, you might be able to build something up. Or there's millions of other girls out there who are going through the same thing as you, and they just might, to in a sane fashion, embrace, come find and develop this social circle. Then you have your friend circle. It's possible. Just an idea. For the young boys, many young boys today are raised by solely women, and if these women understand the value of masculine traits, that's all well and good. I don't think that is too harmful. Like a tomboy, if you would have it. Such women are. They will respect that their sons are boys, and will raise them with masculine virtues, or will ensure that they have masculine examples around them. In the case their father isn't around anymore for whatever reason. Yeah. Let's see. So, in the case that doesn't happen, a lot of these boys wanting to do right by mom, they love mom, they want to do right by mom. Mom might hurt them once in a while, but she's a woman, and you have to be nice to women, as it goes today. Then a lot of them become, well, it goes in two directions. Either they start hating women when it was too abusive, or they become slaves of their mothers, which is then they kind of hate women, but they're sort of afraid of them, and at the same time they want to do right by women, and they become chivalrous people, chivalrous men, as it's called, the knight in shining armor. And these types are the ones who outright start hating on women. Guys, please, not all women are like that. You have been dealt a bad hand at life. I'm sorry that happened to you, but again, you need to. The best revenge, if you will, the best clamor for justice is to make something out of your life. The one thing your vile parents, your anti-white parents, did not want you to have. And just, let them behind you. I know it will hurt. But if there is no other option, you need to exchange ill influences for healthy influences. Only you can decide that. You might talk things over, you might settle things out, but if you can't, please move on. And do not blame people who have nothing to do with it. That gets you nowhere, and it makes you a villain. Don't become the monster they want you to become. Do not take on the misery that others want to inflict upon you. As for the other side of that, who want to serve women then, like they get all ripped and their hair is done nice, and they're like, generally, key word here to remember, androgynous in appearance and behavior. Yeah. I think these guys are actually in deeper trouble than the ones who are become hateful, and hopefully do something about that. Because they have surrendered themselves. The other ones, no. They haven't surrendered to anything. Although, again, it's not less miserable, but it is definitely a step closer to having a certain self-respect. It's like, what did she think, treating me like that, mistreating me for my whole childhood? Screw her. That is a sort of, there is a self-respect hidden in that attitude. With androgynous men, it's like, oh, well, got to respect mom, is what you do. But I like to think that parenting is a verb, it's something you do, it's not something you are. So that might be a little tidbit worth throwing in. And as far as the androgynous types, yeah, guys, you're gonna have to have some self-respect first before you can, how shall one call it? You need some self-respect before you can climb your way away from the influence of let's just say the vile women in general that were in your life. Because in that sort of state, if you want to be a servant, there is a lot of horrible females out there who will absolutely take advantage of you. Do not let that happen to yourself. Look for a good woman. Look for a healthy woman. You need to be healthy for that yourself. Good women do not come to men who don't respect themselves. You can have all the muscle you like. It's in here that also counts. It's what's in your head. It's self-respect, it's attitude that attracts healthy women. Can I lay that all out for you? No, because I do not have the time for that right now. But I wanted to throw that in there. And I hope that these little tidbits that I'm throwing in here will help people who are younger. Maybe some of the older generations who are in that state, because there are those as well. I mean, there are people who have been, yeah, and this is for, especially if you're younger. I've seen types who are in their 50s and still are these servants or these haters. Do you really want to be like that by the time you're 50? These guys have wasted their lives on that. They have absolutely wasted a lot of time, and they have skipped on the chance for a happy life with a good woman on more than one occasion. Can promise you that much. They will never admit it themselves. I can guarantee you. It's you'll be far happier for finding yourself and respecting yourself, and to not become the monster the anti-whites want you to be. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave it there. Some extra tips is go out in nature if you are not used to doing so, and if you're from European descent, nature means temperate forests, boreal maybe. If you live in a desert somewhere, I'm not entirely certain you're gonna feel any happiness there. You might still feel better than sitting in some concrete office all day or whatever it is that you do. You'll feel better even if you are one of these millionaires' children or just a millionaire yourself and you have this big fancy house, this villa, which with a pool and all of it, whatever it's gonna be. I would still challenge you, go to the wilds. I think you're still gonna be happier there. Who knows? Might actually be funny, wouldn't it? That you end up realizing what kind of a poison the artificial keep you've built for yourself has been doing against your own well-being, your personal well-being. And yeah, I really would propose that people read into the old philosophers a bit more, the psychologists. Psychology is such a taboo, and look where it's getting us. People are becoming more neurotic and even psychotic with each successive generation. This is far more harmful than all this talk about having less and less children. You know why? Because one healthy couple might technically, if you look at history, there were couples that had like 24 children. But today, do you think a neurotic person is going to be a good mom or a good dad? Let alone a psychopath? That is the true poison right there. You want more children, as some guys have been clamoring for in their panic? You look at the mental well-being of everyone around you, and you help people with that. You know, getting people rid of drugs, etc. Drugs are an escape for people. While are they escaping from? That is what you need to address, and that's something that's playing off between their ears. That is what you look at, or must. And if you refuse to go there, you may as well just do nothing, because you're gonna waste your time. If we're such a proud people, can we be proud enough to say when we've mistaken or choice, when we have made the wrong choice, when we had points that we should have learned, yet we didn't? Almost said a mean pathogen there. Did you catch it? But I'm getting better. It's what all of us should be doing, I think. Or not, I guess. Oh, maybe I'm just talking nonsense. I know I'm feeling healthier and better by the week. And I don't think I've had a particularly more pleasant or unpleasant life than most. But I definitely understood a while ago that it could go better, and I started going for it. Wasn't always easy. And by doing it myself, I know others can do it too. That's why I'm one of the reasons why I share these videos. I give a damn. Otherwise I wouldn't have ever started making these videos in the first place. It's already a challenge for me to to get this thing going. That's how much I care, I guess, about public sphere and all of that in sense of being seen. I guess by the background you can also tell, how much I'm all about being around, how extroverted as I am. Not really. Not really. Do not dislike people either, because then I wouldn't reach out either, right? Balance. The best of both. So yeah. Oh, one more thing. In the period when you were a teenager, Gen Z, boy or girl, man or woman, when you were, let's say, 15 years old, there were people who said that your generation was going to save us all. You were going to be the hero of heroes. And as much as I would wish that for you, if you happen to listen, that you will be heroic, you will be brave, and you will help yourself and then hopefully help others too. And understand the evil that has been done unto all of us and want to undo evil, which is anti-life. Undo what is anti-life and settle for what brings life. Then I hope you understand that most of those who were saying that in the older generation, some said it out of genuine encouragement and hope. Most of it, unfortunately, were leeches that want you to pick the coals out of the fire that they let burn. Just something to be warned about. Do not randomly trust people. Naivety is a trait among Europeans that has been taken advantage of for far too long as is. Partially because, again, we have an issue with looking at psychology, so we don't know this about ourselves. And then we wonder why our fingers are burning, right? But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. And I hope that, who knows, at least a few people will climb their way up. And if you wanna talk more about this, I suppose comment section is open for now. I won't close it, but you never know. And yeah, gain a healthy life, become healthy, but mental health as much as physical health. Oh, and girls, please drop the fake up. It's pure poison you're smearing over yourself. There are better ways to find a better life. And don't give yourself such a hard time. Try to not let others have a hard time too if you can help it. And be a bit wild. Take a chance. Do something worthy of your ancestors. Look into them. They're quite an amazing bunch. And with that said, I'm gonna go. You all have a good one, and bye-bye.